Good evening, wonderful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are, on the face of this very planet, on this very day, the 3rd day of October, in the year of our Most High Elohim Chukwokika Biama 2019, with the time now standing at exactly 7 p.m. in Biafra land, and the top of the hour, regardless of where you are. I welcome you and I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you. It doesn't matter where you're domiciled. If you are logged on to www.radiobiafra.co, you will get us. Although some people said there's been a few difficulties in recent times, I ask you to please ensure that you have the Radio Biafra app. And if you do not have it, endeavor to tell those around you to download it. We are also on FM on 102.2, 102.3, 102.1, depending on where you are in Biafra land. Radio Biafra is also on satellite for the hard to reach areas of Biafra land and anywhere within the Southern Hemisphere. It is not a particularly pleasant day today because the enemies of Biafra have risen in strange places where we never expected nor thought they could inhabit, that have on its own necessitated this very broadcast this evening. It is an emergency address. I will be addressing Biafrans, lovers of freedom, and all those that have any semblance of interest in the advancement of the black race. This is Radio Biafra and I welcome you. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the very special grace of the Most High Elohim, a servant of the Biafra nation, we are here to ensure the restoration of Biafra. We are here to commit everything committable in the restoration of Biafra. We are here, not commitment in terms of crime, but to devote and to sacrifice whatever is needed for Biafra to be accomplished in this very generation. We are not going to relent. It doesn't matter how many times they come out to kill us, how many times they abduct us, how many times they seek to destroy and dampen our spirit. One thing is inescapable. We must continue this very relentless pursuit of the freedom and liberty of the blessed people of Biafra. That is something that nobody can take away from us. What we are suffering today, the Jews went through it. The state of Israel suffered it, but eventually they emerged triumphant. The same is going to be said about the history of Biafra. Our enemies are numerous. They are gathering in strength. They are doing all they can to try to subdue, to subjugate, to try and frustrate our noble mission. But they will never, ever succeed. As I welcome you, I also expect you to welcome those who are around you. And as I do so this evening, we must pray for those who are in South Africa, who are under attack, who are under siege, not because of anything untoward that they may have done, but for the mere fact that they are Biafrans, the mere fact that we are blessed people, the fact that we have chosen to bring light to Africa where there is darkness by the grace of Elohim. That is why they are doing what they are doing, but we are bound to be triumphant in the end. We must proceed this evening, and as always, and in keeping with our tradition here on this very noble platform of Radio Biafra, we must call upon the Most High Chukwukika Biama Prumi Henine. We must pray, and as we do so, As I said earlier, we remember those who are incarcerated. We remember those who have been killed in the pursuit of the freedom of Biafra. We remember those who are still in detention, unaccounted for. We remember those who are suffering. We remember those who are in pain. For one thing is certain, after all this pain, after all these very difficult moments in our life, the sun must certainly rise and Biafra will be restored. We must pray because Chukwukika Biama is central to all that we have come to do. Our singular purpose is to restore Biafra. The essence of our resistance is to ensure that the will of heaven is done upon children of men may testify that in their time, in the time of IPOB, that the grace of the creator of the heavens and the earth, the maker of the universe, dwelt amongst his children in Africa, from whence light came where previously there was only darkness and brutality. We must pray. I take my prayers this evening from the book of Psalms 71 to be precise. In thee, O Elohim, do we put all our trust. Never, ever put us to shame. Deliver us in your righteousness and cause us to escape. Incline thine ear unto us this evening and save your children wherever we are being persecuted. Be thou our strong habitation, whereunto we may continually resort, as we are doing this evening, for we have no other God apart from thee, and we proclaim it joyously. We do so very proudly in the knowledge that you are our rock and our fortress. You will deliver your children. You will deliver Biafra. You will preserve and you will keep IPOB, because you are Elohim. You are God. You are Chukwukika Biama, the beginning and the end, the author and the finisher of our faith. Because out of the hands of the wicked, out of the hands of the unrighteous and the cruel people of not only the damnable zoological republic, even in South Africa, must you deliver your children, for you are our hope. O Lord God, thou art our trust. Hold us up, that we may look upon thee and thy redeeming grace. Our praise always, now and forevermore, shall be continually yours. Because IPOB is a mystery to many, but you are our strong refuge. Let our mouth be filled with thy praise, because out of the pain and the suffering in South Africa this very day, as it has gone on for several months, will your mercy and your grace abound upon the lives of those that believe in your redemption. And that redemption is Biafra. You will not cast us off from thy sight. You will not forsake IPOB. You shall honor your children, those that call upon thy name in truth and in every honesty. Therefore, we say this evening, O Heavenly Father, may every grace and adoration, every prayer, every adulation belong to your holy name, Chukwukika Biama, now and forevermore, we pray. He said, we must proceed very hastily, because this very critical work must be done. The truth must be spoken on this very platform without fear and without any favors. Here we remain whiter than white and whiter than snow. That is why we have been able to accomplish what most nations cannot be able to accomplish. We do not take the praise, every praise and adoration for all that we have become, for all that we have accomplished in this very noble quest to restore Biafra belong to Chukwukika in heaven. It doesn't belong to man. Every praise we direct towards heaven. And because of that, Biafra shall come in our time. Today, it was not my intention to address the wonderful people of Biafra because we are working very, very hard. We have now gone into a phase where not everything that we do is placed in the public domain for the consumption of those who love what we are doing. What is happening in South Africa today is a clear example that our enemies are desperate. They are now engaging countries, not just in South Africa. The same thing is happening in Congo. The same level of persecution of the children of the Most High, Biafrans, is taking place also in Congo, and we expect it to happen in other countries of Africa as well, where obviously there is no democracy, there is no rule of law, there is anarchy, there is chaos, there is wanton destruction, there is lawlessness, and there is unbridled savagery. That is what makes Africa unique as a very backward continent. When I say this, a lot of people take offense, but I will not stop saying it. There is something genetically amiss with the composition of the thinking faculty of a black man in Africa. The level of wickedness and evil being exhibited not just by some segments of South Africa, but by their state authorities as well, especially the police, gives us all cause for concern. This was not what Mandela fought for. It was not what the likes of Mbazulika Meti supported when he graciously harbored and hosted Nelson Mandela and ANC leadership in Biafra land. This is the story of our life. Wherever we go to, we make things happen. We bring development, we bring civilization, we bring innovation, and we bring creativity. But in return, always in return, we have been paid back with death, destruction, looting, and state-sponsored acts of cowardice. What is happening in South Africa is dreadful. It is quite simply a case of using legitimate protest by IPOB family members in Cape Town as a way to placate or to smoothen out diplomatic ties with the zoo called Nigeria, wrought by the last xenophobic attacks. That is how cowardly Abakari is and the Fulani cabal, the unreasonable and unthinking bunch of people that run the zoo called Nigeria. Because Biafrans were killed in South Africa, because southern Nigerians, to some of them, were killed in South Africa, they sent Jubril al-Sudani to try and make political capital out of it. Because not Fulanis and their cows are being killed. Those being killed are not Fulani people and not their precious cattle. Those being murdered and massacred are Biafrans. Some of you do not know what is happening or do not know what transpired this evening. I shall endeavor to shed some light. It presented South Africa a golden opportunity that they saw fit to capitalize on And sadly, this puts us in a very difficult position this evening. What IPOB did in South Africa today was lawful, democratic, and legal by every sense of the word. We were protesting the insensitivity of the invitation of Jubril Aminu al-Sudani, the impostor president of Nigeria, given what transpired just a few weeks ago, with most of them or most of our people being flown home. All this is just coming very soon that our people lost their lives and property in the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. Nowhere in the world will a president, albeit one that is an impostor, conduct such a visit so soon when our people are mourning, unless such a president is an impostor. You must understand this very clearly. Nowhere in the world you cannot kill Britons and expect to see the British Prime Minister fly to that same place after a few weeks. You will not kill Americans and you have a supposed American president fly to that very place, unless that very person is not a patriot, unless that very person is an impostor, which clearly Jubril is. Can you imagine Cyril Ramaphosa visiting any country of the world where South Africans are being killed? It is unthinkable. Nobody will even contemplate it. It is because lives in Africa do not matter. Black people do not value their own life. We have lost the capacity and the ability to reason like human beings. I keep saying this all the time. There is something wrong with the brain of a black person. I tell you the truth. That is why there is no single African country that is advancing. I mean, none. They claim their democracies only by mouth. They mouth democracy, but they do not practice democracy. They do not even know what it means. Every government in Africa is under dictatorship, either outright despotic dictatorship or democratic dictatorship. There is no freedom anywhere. Even in South Africa, that people fought and died in order to advance the cause of the rule of law. South Africa have over the years now descended into a predictable abyss of lawlessness, brutality, and a unique form of savagery only known to Africa and to Africans. And it is no shock, no surprise that you will not hear about what transpired in Cape Town in any of the major media outlets around the world, because they will not write nor carry any news about Biafra. We are encircled, we are an endangered race. The idea is to wipe away Biafrans from the face of the earth. What happened in South Africa today, what has been happening in South Africa for the past few weeks, have all been carefully engineered by the Nigerian government, the Fulani cabal that is running it. We are going through the same thing in Congo as I speak. In Congo, we are going through exactly the same thing and expect that to intensify with other countries following suit in the coming weeks and months. We must brace ourselves for this very difficult season of persecution and violence directed towards Biafrans. No patriotic president anywhere in the world will conduct a state visit a few days after the bodies of their people were dragged through the streets of that very country for no discernible reason other than blind xenophobia. That goes to confirm that whoever they sent to South Africa is an impostor, and they are acting to a script And Biafrans must be very wise, including the useless and the hopeless governors, all those that have promised presidency in 2023, 2098, 30, the year 3012. All of you must be sensible, because they do not love you and they will never love you. The idea is to obliterate us from the face of the earth. Enugu Airport is not functioning, and today they came up with the very pathetic excuse that there is no money. But the oil and gas that fuels the economy or that sustains the Fulani misrule in Nigeria comes from Biafra land, but there is no money to build Second Niger Bridge, and there is no money to build Enugu Airport. That tells you that our enemies are encircling us, and very soon they will unleash their final jihad, and not very many will survive, I assure you. Therefore, this is a warning to all our people, especially those residing in African countries. You must abandon and jettison your Nigerian citizenship immediately. You must get rid of the zoo passport with you and declare yourself as a Biafran, or declare yourselves as Biafrans wherever you are in Africa, or else what is happening or what happened today will also happen to you. This very visit by Jubril to South Africa, to Cape Town to be precise, is indirectly telling South African government and the government of Cyril Ramaphosa that it is okay to attack people, knowing fully well there are no Fulanis in South Africa. They know that South Africa is full of Biafrans, Oduduwa people, and those from the Kingdom. Because I prefer to refer to people by their indigenous identity. I do not believe in the categorization that has been given to us by a white man. Those that live in South Africa are Biafrans, Oduduwa people, the Yorubas, and those from Benin and other areas in between. Fulanis are not there, so they can kill as many people as possible. An impostor, a Fulani imposed president from Sudan will be flown there to go and pretend as if everything is normal. We are not here to antagonize the South African government, but we are here to condemn evil this evening. Mbazulika Mechi harbored Nelson Mandela. I remember watching footage of anti-apartheid protests led by Cyril Ramaphosa when they were being shot at by South African apartheid police. We remember it very vividly. I can recall it. And I ask IPOB tonight to go and look for those videos so that we can tweet it to the handle of Cyril Ramaphosa to remind him of what he said when apartheid police were shooting at people in South Africa and killing them. The same thing today that this same ANC is now doing in South Africa. That is pure evil. Pure evil. South Africa should not allow itself to be used by the Fulani cabal in Aso Rock to settle domestic Nigerian politics of oppression. They must not. We know that the zoo sell our oil from Biafra land to South Africa at a discount. They don't pay what others pay for a barrel of crude oil in the world market. They get a discount. I am reminding Cyril Ramaphosa this evening that that very oil comes from Biafra land. The same people today that you asked your police to open fire on in Cape Town. The same Cape Town that apartheid wreaked havoc on people is where black government in South Africa authorized their police to open fire on their fellow Africans who are domiciled in their country because they were protesting. We protested in Japan. IPOB protested in the USA. Wherever there is Jubril, there will be a protest. It doesn't matter where it is. Wherever Jubril goes, there will be protest. We are IPOB. We do not retreat and we do not surrender. We march on relentlessly forward. We will never ever go back. If Jubril is appearing anywhere tomorrow, we will protest in South Africa tomorrow. Cyril Ramaphosa and all those in South Africa that claim to have fought apartheid. You removed apartheid, white apartheid, to replace it with black apartheid. There is no difference between Cyril Ramaphosa and Eugene Terreblanc, the white supremacist South African that hated and wanted the elimination of all black people in South Africa. There is no difference between the two of them. I've also said this to governments of the world when I go to see them during my tours. Why is it that these things are being allowed to happen in South Africa, in Africa especially, when the same level or the same standard cannot be tolerated anywhere else in the world, not even in South America? Is it because, in fact, I made it very clear to them that maybe there is a conspiracy to use these failing, undemocratic, despotic, and evil regimes across Africa, bar none, to try to reduce the population of the black race. I think that is what they are doing. There was an issue in Kashmir. CNN was there, BBC was there covering it. Kashmir, nobody died. They've been given wall-to-wall coverage to the protest in Hong Kong. Protests have been going on in Hong Kong against a major power in the world, China. There's been no reported deaths, no opening of fire on unarmed protesters. In Hong Kong, BBC is there 24/7, CNN is there 24/7. But when it comes to Africa, the police can open fire or the army can open fire on unarmed civilians, and nobody is talking. And black people do not understand by their silence that they are accepting, both the victims and the perpetrators, that we are not worthy to be called human beings. That is something they do not understand. Because what is happening in Africa cannot happen anywhere else. Never, nowhere in the world will it happen. But we are tolerating it. Because there is something wrong with our brain. We are black people. We cannot reason. It seems to me that we have become, on this very earth, a repository of evil and darkness. No single government in Africa is democratic. Not one. Not one single place is democratic. Not one place. There is no democracy in Africa. All are led by evil people that do not have the interest of their people at heart. That is Africa for you. And that is the reality confronting us. That is why they conspire. That is why they gang up against Biafra. Because they know we represent the light. But we shall prevail. We are instructing our lawyers in South Africa, because we have them in South Africa. We will challenge this very brutality in South African law courts. We will take this very case anywhere that we can take it in order to ensure that justice is obtained. We are Biafrans. We have not committed any crime. We have not broken any laws. All we are doing is protesting the presence of an impostor and also a war criminal, because he was the one that presided over the various Operation Python dance that we have had in our land, culminating in the ongoing deadly Operation Python dance 4. What shocks and surprises me is that our people do not understand. Most of our people cannot begin to appreciate the depth of mess we are in, how deep it is. Some of you do not understand it, how messed up our situation is. The vast majority of the people all over the world are looking upon IPOB and Biafrans to rescue whatever is rescuable about Africa. And this evening, we're making it very loud and clear, sending a very clear and unmistakable message to the government of South Africa that we are IPOB. We are going to challenge their brutality. We are going to expose them. And we are going to do everything within our powers to ensure that this level of criminal savagery is not allowed to continue. I'm sure there are still some white judges in South Africa. There are still some white people with conscience in South Africa that will not allow this to pass. It will be challenged, we assure them, because this type of nonsense should not be encouraged by keeping silent. We granted refuge to Nelson Mandela. I'm never tired of saying this. And this is how they have decided to pay us back. IPOB family in South Africa went to a place called the Union House in Cape Town, where the impostor, Jubril al-Sudani, masquerading as the dead Muhammadu Buhari, was meeting the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. We went there to protest his presence in South Africa and the fact that our people were killed, and all they could think of was to try to insult the memory of the dead with a state visit. Despite the concerted effort of the South African police to stop IPOB from demonstrating, we did so. We did so very bravely. I commend IPOB South Africa for their bravery, their fortitude and effort. I commend, in fact, I respect IPOB in South Africa this very day. The same way that I respect IPOB in Japan for what they did is how I respect IPOB in South Africa. They tried to stop us, but we marched to that very union building and we made our voice to be heard. Not only that, Jubril al-Sudani is an impostor, but the very fact that we are Biafrans and that we want to be set free. Our people this very evening, it is an address, that is true. I want to address our people, but also for us to understand what awaits us. We must be very calm and cool-headed to begin to appreciate what is about to happen to us. They are enabling the traitors and the saboteurs in our midst, enabling them. People come on television, they lie, they present half-truths because they are working for the zoo and for their fallen masters. And what is their game plan? Their game plan is total emasculation of our people, to suppress us in such a way that we can no longer exist as a people. That is their game plan. But unfortunately, some of our people, those that they gave money to, those that they took loans, those that went to them to go and take loans, in order to assume what I call an inflated status in society, are working for them morning, noon, and night to try to make sure that our race is extinguished from the face of this very earth. But they are not going to succeed. Ask yourself this very question. Aside from what is happening in South Africa, ask yourself this question. They have the money to do everything they want to do everywhere else. They found the money to build the railway from Abuja to Kaduna. They found the money to now be building a railway from Katsina to Niger Republic, where most of them come from. They have money to do all these things. But when it comes to executing a project from the place where all the money that sustains Nigeria comes from, they say they have run out of money. And when they say these things, our people are not sufficiently enraged. Nobody gets upset. Nobody gets angry because it is a game plan. What is happening in South Africa, or what happened in South Africa, is a game plan. It is also happening in Congo. The persecution of our people. They cannot open the seaports. No, they won't. They won't allow you to have a viable airport. Of course not. But they will tell you, let's make Nigeria one. Some idiots went to go and see Babangida. Let's make Nigeria one. Because you have a 2x2 shop selling provisions somewhere in Nasarawa. Because of your tiny shop, you want to mortgage the fate of an entire nation of over 70 million people. You want to condemn us to a life of perpetual slavery. If the lives of Babangida were very serious, why wouldn't they campaign for our seaports to be opened? Why wouldn't they campaign for Warri to be opened? One, Iguacha, Port Harcourt, Calabar. Why wouldn't they allow ships to come to Onitsha? White man used it. The white man used Onitsha as a river port. Lokoja had a river port. What happened to them? But there is a dry dock in Kaduna. They came where the sea is and they shut all the seaports. But in Kaduna, there is a dry seaport where they carry all their containers from Lagos unchecked all the way to Kaduna. And when Babangida calls you to talk about one Nigeria, you're there talking rubbish as a fool. Even the gentleman that runs Airpeace, that was running his mouth a few days ago, I saw him, I couldn't believe. On a closer inspection, it occurred to me that he doesn't even look like a Biafran to start with. I will address his issue when I attend the next town hall meeting because I want to be asked questions about that, so I can address him. They have aeroplane, they claim they have airline or airlines as the case may be, but there is no viable airport where you come from. And today we received them, I think it's today's information, yes, that the funding for Enugu reconstruction, the Enugu airport, has stalled. Do you know why it has stalled? And they said there is no money to do the work. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, I'm sure their Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, I think is a Fulani man, he has oversight over FAAN, is saying that only 3 kilometers that ordinary local government can do. 3 kilometers only, because after all, we have engineers who can do this. The Minister of Aviation said that work is yet to resume because there is no money. But all the money that runs the zoo, that built Kebbi Airport, that built Mina Airport, that built the airport in Jalingo, that built the airport in Kaduna, that built the airport in Maiduguri, the money that built the airport in Kanu, the money that built the airport in Sokoto, all of that money came from Biafra land. But the airport in Biafra land, the capital of Biafra, is not functioning because there is no money to fix it. And our people are sheepishly and mopishly moving about every day, pretending one Nigeria, that nothing is wrong. Are you well at all? Is your brain correct? Even middle belt have risen up to say enough is enough. And you foolishly and hopelessly, in your God-given, your, should I say, Satan-given ignorance, you're still talking about one Nigeria. Our country, your country, Nigeria. And they're killing us in South Africa. It is the Nigerian government that instigated South African government to start these xenophobic attacks against our people in South Africa. It's a state policy. And they know it. And they know it. All we do in our lives now is to wait. It is your turn. Next 4 years is the turn of your village. your town, your autonomous community. Meanwhile, you are unemployed as a graduate. There is no electricity, there is no running water. Jubril went to UN. And when India is landing a craft on the dark side of the moon, that thing from Sudan is talking about drinking water. 21st century. Somebody claiming to be a head of state is standing before the world when there are mind-boggling advances in medicine, in aviation, in every facet of human existence. You are there talking about drinking water, 21st century, and you people are not ashamed of yourselves. And newspapers were writing, publishing nonsense, drinking water before the world. And you're telling me that we somehow qualified to be called human beings? I doubt that very much. I doubt it. There is something wrong with our people and our brain. What you're getting is Fulani brand of democracy and governance. It is dumbing down. Everybody has now been dragged down to their level. Everybody is now myopic, useless, unreasonable. That is how they reason. They cannot run an economy. How many years they've been in power, year after year, year after year, you still cannot afford to open a tap in your home and drink water. And they're telling you 2023 they will continue. And some of you are clapping. That's how daft you are. That's how daft some of you are. There is no airport in our land. The airport we have, there is no money. And in South Africa, they're killing us. Our seaports are not opened, you know. Not open, no, of course not. But they have a dry dock in Kaduna, where Malam and Al-Haji can clear their container without difficulty in Kaduna. But for a Biafran to clear his or her container, you have to travel to Lagos. That is already congested, and there is no road. Do you see how stupid? Do you see how stupid human beings can become? Do you see how hopeless people are? And you're asking yourself this question: why is it that people are not reacting to this? Why are they not doing anything about it? Oh, because don't worry, it's our turn in 2023. Do you see how the Fulanis have reduced you to nothing? All you aspire to now is their level of mediocrity. That's what you do. We don't have visionaries anymore, people who can reason, people who can think in advance. No more. It is here today. Rankadede economy. That's what you have. If you're loyal to a Fulani overlord, then you'll be given a contract. You will make it, or else you're finished. That is how sad things have become. But we must proceed because our people need to be told the truth, and that is exactly what we are doing this very evening. The thing about the situation we are facing as a race and as a people within the zoo called Nigeria is that if care is not taken before the expiration of the presidency of Abba Kyari, because Abba Kyari is actually the president, not Jubril. Abba Kyari is. Anybody that looks at that thing and tells me that that thing there is even 60 years old, I will know you have a mental problem. That young man with the digital mask that they put on all the time on their faces. And people are, oh, it's unbelievable. I never thought that I would live in a world where this type of thing will be happening, but it is there. They have, what I'm trying to do is to, should I say, is to unmask what I call the inherent stupidity at the heart of the reasoning of the Fulani cabal that is running the zoo. Today, in the papers today, the news is there. 22 Nigerian soldiers were declared wanted by the army for running away from Boko Haram. People read this type of news and they think it is nothing. It doesn't mean anything to them. Oh, my brother, come and see Boko. They ran from Boko Haram. People will just laugh. You know, every blessed day that I try to study the zoo called Nigeria and how people behave within it, I begin to wonder why God ever bothered creating black people in the first place. I'm being honest with you, because it seems to me that we are a waste of space. We cannot reason. The difference between a human being and an animal is ability to reason. But blacks in Africa cannot reason. Boko Haram is chasing your soldiers away in the north. But you have launched Operation Python Dance, Crocodile Smile, Crocodile Tears in the south. The soldiers that you actually need to fight Boko Haram, assuming you are serious and honest about it, assuming you're claiming you're not the ones funding it. The soldiers you need to fight Boko Haram, Buratai deployed to my house, to Biafra land, to my village that is peaceful, whereas Boko Haram is running riot in the north. That is the brain of a black general. That's how they reason black. Oh, Chineke, these people. Lord have mercy. Oh, dear me. Boko Haram is ravaging them in the north, but they are in the south doing Operation Show of Force. And this is the country that people are in. This is the country that people subscribe to. I say they are a part of. And they say, I'm a proud Nigerian. Nigeria at 59, or was it? 52. That led me to ask somebody, your father is 72 years old and Nigeria is 59. Who is your father then? Where is he from? And he couldn't answer me till today. 22 soldiers ran away. They are brave soldiers. They ran away. If it is to go and kill unarmed Shia protesters, to go and kill unarmed IPOB protesters, you see them, they'll come out. They'll say they are a crack team, elite force. But to go and fight people with guns, they start disappearing. That is their army. 22 ran away. Once they say 22, you know it's up to 2020. They ran away. The soldiers meant to be fighting Boko Haram are doing Operation Pythons where there is peace and tranquility. And you're telling me that Nigerians are normal people, that they're somehow they're human beings? That's why I call them animals. That is why I call the place a zoo. They cannot reason. You are in a battlefield, in a war. And what is paining me and what we have now started doing is to make sure we inform the governments of the world that the money you are voting for the fight against terrorism, the weapons you're giving to Nigeria, they are using it to kill civilians. Not Boko Haram. That is why they have Operation Crocodile Smile, Operation Python Dance. Whereas we're the theater of war, where these men doing Python dancing are needed, the terrorists are running riot. That is a black person. And tomorrow you wonder why you have no electricity. Oh, NEPA has taken light. Oh, this road is too bad. Since this road is bad, you sit in a tiny danfo bus and you're complaining. That's all you do. Complain, 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 complain. Showore came out to do something about it. For you so-called Nigerians. Someone say, oh, leave him there, leave him there. But do what Showore is doing, you cannot do it. You can't. You cannot do it. But all you do is you moan and you complain. Oh, there is mosquito is biting me. There is no fan. There's no electricity. But the people fighting for you to get electricity, you mock them. That is how foolish you are. That is how foolish Nigerians are. Very daft indeed. But my happiness this evening is that even places like Middle Belt, they have woken up. They have realized that they can no longer be in the shadow of the Fulani North that is now running the zoo as a failed, tiny, backward Fulani emirate. That's what they're doing exactly, precisely. Even the Middle Belt have realized, and I encourage them to remain strong. The same way I encourage Showore to remain very strong this evening. Remain resolute and strong. All this nonsense they're doing, eventually he'll be released. And the day he comes out, he will become a Yoruba leader. I assure you. And I'm also convinced that events in the past few weeks and months have taught him a lesson that anybody fighting for Nigeria is wasting his time. If you're fighting for Nigeria, you are wasting your time, because there is nothing like Nigeria. That is why people cannot come out to protest for him, because there is nothing called Nigeria. Any day he switches and becomes a Yoruba leader, fighting for Yoruba emancipation, you will see what will happen. It's as simple as that. Somebody wrote, I don't know, I think there is a Hausa person, is the problem with us. What is happening in South Africa today, what is happening in Congo, and what we are going through in the zoo called Nigeria as Biafrans, with the high level of persecution, the relentless, unlawful kidnapping and arrests going on all over the place, the killings, the torture and the humiliation going on a daily basis. It is our fault. Sometimes I don't blame the Fulanis. It is our fault because we have failed to learn. We don't learn from history. Those of them in the north that went to go and see Babangida, you don't learn from history. Do you know why they removed history from the school curriculum in the zoo called Nigeria? It's precisely to get you to where you are today, where your brains will be empty, there'll be nothing in it. Once in a while, they give you Big Brother to distract you, or they raise one scandal or the other, cause this or cause that, to try to take your mind away from what actually matters, because they know that some of you are daft. You don't know history. This very generation were not taught history. They know nothing. Because had they had the privilege of knowing the history of Nigeria, they will know that the killing of our people did not start today. It doesn't matter how many hotels you have in the north. It doesn't matter how close or friendly you are with Babangida or whoever. And when they sound the trumpet, they will come and kill you. It happened in 1945, in 1953, in 1957, in 1959, in 1961. It happened in 1963. It happened in 1966. And the list goes on till this very day. So you think if you have a hotel in Kotangora, somehow you'll be safe? You are daft and you're foolish. Jews went through the same phase of stupidity. I call it collective stupidity that we are going through today as Biafrans. We see death coming, but we don't understand it. We can't interpret it. You have one idiot from somewhere. They'll say, oh, they invited me to House of Reps, and because of that, I'm a Nigerian. This Biafra they're talking about, I'll bring peace. Idiots everywhere talking nonsense. Mad people everywhere. Did it stop them from killing you in all those years gone by? Is it going to stop them from killing you again? The answer is no. They will kill you because you're foolish. Keep talking about one Nigeria. The day will happen to you, IPOB will tell you, we told you so. Let them keep promising you presidency in 2092. And because of that, you want Nigeria to continue. Before then, you'll be swallowed up as well. This is what somebody wrote about some people, especially Biafrans. Let me not say people of the South. My good friend Fanika always talks about the Southern Nigeria. Let me just use this to qualify the very deplorable and disgraceful, or should I say despicable behavior of some of we Biafrans, the way we react or respond to this whole nonsense about the unity of Nigeria, so to speak. People don't talk about unity in Germany. Nobody talks about unity anywhere else. It's only in Nigeria. Every blessed day, unity. Even in Spain, where Catalonia is looking to be independent from Castile, that is down in the south. Nobody talks about unity. One Spain, one unity, one Spain. Rubbish. It's only in the zoo. Because they know we are not united and can never, ever be united. Everybody cuts deal. The Yorubas cut deal with the Fulanese. Close all the seaports in the east. Let only the west be functioning. And in return, you can move the capital from Lagos to Abuja. Babangida struck the deal with them. Let us try and cheat Yorubas. Oh, let's try and cheat the Igbos. Let's cheat them and destroy them. Not knowing that they're also destroying themselves. And what is happening today? Is it not very clear and apparent that they're killing themselves as well? Are the Fulani sparing them? The answer is no, because they never learn from history. They are very poor students of history. They are blinded by jealousy and greed. So so what they're saying to me is, those that want us to be part of one Nigeria is, will Yorubas agree to close all the seaports in Lagos and the only functioning viable seaport will be Calabar? Will they be happy? Will they be happy? I'm asking them. You're asking IPOB to embrace one Nigeria. I'm asking you, if we close Tinkan, Tinkan Island is called, the seaport, and we close Apapa Wharf, are you prepared to come to Calabar to clear your goods and then take it to Lagos through Asaba, Bini, and Ore to Lagos? You wouldn't do that. But you want those that you're destroying, those you're taking their livelihoods away, those you have politically and economically emasculated to be part of your sham one Nigeria. Because if we talk, you bring army to kill us. You know, Chukwuka is very wonderful. As you're in the south deceiving yourselves, as foolish as you are, Buratai, doing pattern dance, crocodile smile, cockroach jumping, Boko Haram is taking your villages and slaughtering you. You people are the ones in IDP camps, not us. You are the ones in IDP camps, not us. You are the ones being killed by terrorists that you bred yourselves, not us. But you're busy pulling your tanks to the south. Let me read what this man cleverly wrote here. He said the problem with Southerners, Southerners meaning, Biafrans, Oduduwa, and Beni people. I respect Beni a lot. Beni is a kingdom, and it should be. And I've said to them, and allow me to repeat tonight, they should look at the model of France and Monaco. Monaco is a principality. It is a state of its own with its crown head, the Prince of Monaco. The same thing can happen to Benin. They can be part of either Oduduwa or Biafra, depending on their preference, and they can keep their unique, very beautiful culture that I admire immensely. So they can have the independence. Also, within any arrangement. So any Benin person jumping up and down, talking about one Nigeria, you're wasting your time. You have a very admirable heritage. Benin Kingdom is as old as any other nation in Africa. You should be striving to have that reestablished and recognized worldwide, not being a Fulani slave. We must continue. Those of you from this, especially Biafrans, they claim they're educated, they went to this school and they went to that school, but they know nothing. So this man is asking them, what has your education done for you? After your so-called education, you go and work for, what's his name? Tanko Mohammed, Ibrahim Tanko. The aeroplane turner. You know, aeroplane turner, Tonton Turner, we used to sing when we were small. The aeroplane turner. After all your education, Malami is your attorney general. After all your education, an impostor from Sudan, a 40-year-old. He looks 40 years old, in fact. Impostor from Sudan is your president. You claim you're educated. Look at your legal system. It is a mess. A complete and utter mess, and you claim you're educated. You went to a judge. That is the perverse thing about Nigeria and Nigerians. They make me sick. You went to a judge and obtained an order, ex parte order, to arrest Showore. Now listen to this. Listen to this logic about a black man, Africa, black people, how daft and how useless we are. We are a blight on the face of this very earth, I tell you. You see them wearing wigs looking like the very black version of George Washington. You know the wig they wear when they go to court. Inside that wig is coconut, not a human head. How can lawyers be sitting in a court of law? I'm just using Showore's case as an example. In a court of law, where the same DSS, the same Abak Yari gang in Asorok, they went to Justice Taiwo and said to Justice Taiwo, we have arrested this man on no grounds, we have no evidence, we have no proof, but please legalize his illegal detention by 45 days. This judge granted them the leave to detain Showore for 45 days. Listen to this very carefully, please. They went to a court of law to say, we are investigating this man, give him to us, let us keep him for 45 days. They needed the backing, the legality of a judicial pronouncement to back up their own crime. And Taiwo granted them and said, come back after 45 days if you want to increase it. The same Taiwo. Now, when Falana was fighting to release Showore, they said, oh, we have this court order. Can't you see? We have court order to detain him for 45 days. Now, they went back to court. The same Justice Taiwo that said they could keep Showore for 45 days. Before him, the same judge said, I have not seen anything to convince me that there is any valid reason to continue the detention of this man. You must release him immediately, unconditionally, as Ademola did in my case. Do you know what they did? They said no, they won't release him. I'm trying to make sense of this. I'm trying to let the world understand how foolish blacks are in Africa, how foolish Nigerians are, how foolish the judiciary is, how daft Nigerian Bar Association is, how useless the entire legal structure is. Instead of lawyers and judges to say, we will not go to court anymore until you obey court order, you know what they did? They foolishly went to the court of Justice, I think it's Nneka Ojukwu, or whatever she's called. Oh, so if you don't get justice before this court, you try another court until they give you the pronouncement you're looking for. And it is a country, it is a democracy, it obeys the rule of law, it has a constitution. The world must be going crazy, I tell you. We are very lucky. If they start tomorrow to deport black people, they start to call us names. We are monkeys, we are this. Who will blame them? I ask you. You people behave like monkeys. How can you go to a court of law? The same judge that gave you the order to detain Showore is now asking you to release him, and you're saying no. Instead, you go to another one. And the court was filled with a bunch of idiots wearing wig that don't know the law. What are you doing in a court of law? When the government does not obey the law, you shut down the entire system until they obey it. But you people are looking, it is your turn. They will call the lawyers and say to them, oh, when Malami goes, we'll give it to you. You see all of them in the court, they will promise all of them to be Attorney General, all of them. And they will say, I don't want to spoil it, it's my turn. No, next. and you allow impunity to continue. And you wonder why you have no electricity, why you have no running water, why you have no good roads, why you have no hospitals, and why you have no schools. It is because you're stupid. Not because of the government. It's your stupidity. It's nothing to do with Jubril and Abakari. It is your own personal stupidity. But you're black. I don't think you'll accept it. But that's the way it is. Now, so when the new judge convicts Showore, then he will go to prison. Yes? How about the judge that said he should be released? What happened to his judgment? Was it appealed? The answer is no. Do you know why? Because Fulanis are in power. They are not educated. They don't know what rule of law means. These are people that run Emirate Council in the village, drinking brukutu. They know nothing. What do they know? Nothing. You want to marry Sharia and common law. In Britain, they practice common law. In France, it is civil. It's a mixture of both civil and common law that they practice. But in the zoo, you practice Sharia, you practice civil, you practice customary. Nobody knows if they're coming or if they're going. The same thing they did to Adomola in my case, they're now doing to Taiwo, saying we'll refer you to NJC. How can you give a bail for something that is unbailable? So you can just go and pick a woman frying akara on the road because you don't like the way she fries akara or puff puff. You charge her with reasonable felony. No evidence, nothing. They go to court and they say, is it what is it called again in law? Axis reus and mens rea, whatever it's called, intent and committal of the act itself. So what you say, you have a country with freedom of speech, but when you say something against the government, you can be locked up. That freedom is taken away. You are charged with reasonable felony, and they now tell you in the court of law, albeit without evidence, that your offense is not bailable. And even BBC interviewed the dumb fool called Malami. Very dumb. And I want to ask the BBC journalist, will you allow this nonsense to happen in England? But Johnson was carpeted by the Supreme Court. And House of Commons reconvened the next day. You're here asking somebody. You picked up somebody's child from the road and you say it's reasonable felony. You're not bailable. And people tell me Nigeria is a democracy. Useless set of. I don't know who created those animals, to be honest with you. But we have to educate you. That's our job, to educate, even the ignorant. What Ottoman Danfodio started and perfected by the Sultan of Sokoto, Ahmadu Bello, Jubril came now to finish in the name of Buhari. And they will complete it. And there is nothing anybody will do. If you talk too much, they'll promise your village presidency in the year 2049. So you're waiting your turn. Meanwhile, you're complaining there is no water and there is nothing. The South is useless, completely useless and hopeless. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. The same way, when I mean Biafrans, the same thing that is happening to us. They called all your governors and they tell them, no, don't worry, it's your turn. 2023 is the turn of your... Don't worry, serve me very well, be loyal. That is why somebody can stand up and say that the life of an Anambra indigene is 500,000 naira. A governor, in broad daylight. And people are clapping. I mean, I don't understand. No wonder that killing was in South Africa. 500,000. You come to Anambra, you kill as many as possible. Once you have 500,000 per head, kill and continue going. After killing them, we count the bodies and then you pay. And the governor said, I have Miyetti Allah in my government. And Miyetti Allah is the fourth most deadly terror group in the whole world. It's in the government of Anambra State. But IPOB is prescribed by Anambra government. You see how they reason? Do you see their reasoning in the zoo? Do you see how they think? The time now is exactly 10 minutes past 8 p.m. in the blessed land of Biafra, where time itself started, the land of the ancients, very old, Ndibo, very ancient people. That is why Igbo language contains the vowel of every spoken language on the face of the earth. Igbo language contains the vowel in every spoken language on this earth. You will find it in Igbo language. Every word you utter in every language in this world. I don't, even including Japanese. You will find a pronunciation of a word that has meaning in Igbo language. In every language in the world. The land of the angels, that is why the sun rises from there. And that is what Lucifer is trying to extinguish. That light is what Satan is trying to extinguish. The Fulani Cabal, but they will never ever succeed. They won't. Because Biafra is coming. And with it, enlightenment that will set the captives free. We must continue to preach this very gospel. Normally it's only about an hour, but we must preach it. We have to educate people. Supreme Court of Nigeria. Is that not where they said, what's his name is going to? Atiku is going to. Before your eyes, before the eyes of the whole world, they forged certificate, which is perjury, which attracts actually a prison term, perjury. You have to go to prison for it, but not in the zoo. Not in the zoo. In the zoo, you are confirmed as the president with a forged certificate. Somebody says that, you know about the fake lawyer in Kenya that they have been operating on people successfully. They caught him. I was wondering if he would plead the fact that, or if a judge would say, if he successfully conducted 8 surgeries, how can you say he doesn't qualify to be a doctor? I think that is the only judgment or ruling that can come out of a Kenyan court to compare with the ludicrous ruling of the electoral panel in the zoo called Nigeria. That is how they behave. It's Nigeria. Anything goes. They twist everything upside down. And as long as you bribe those who are bribable, as long as you kill those who you feel or think are expendable, you just continue carrying on in your impunity and mediocrity. Nobody gives a damn. This is our turn next time, 2023, 2027, 2092 is our turn. Why bother? Do you see how they reason in the zoo? Very sad indeed. A man, an impostor. Where is Aisha? People that don't reason, they don't have brain. If there is a problem, Aisha runs to Buratai, not to her husband. Aisha is in London. She's fed up of all the nonsense going on in Asarok. Some of you cannot ask questions. Where is the selfie-loving daughter of Buhari? Where is she? What's her name again, Zara? That loves taking selfie. Because they have looked at Jubril and looked at Yusuf Buhari. They're almost the same age. Before you were speaking Fufude. Suddenly you can no longer speak Fufude. And the people are clapping. He sounds like him. Sworn Fulani language Fufude, he cannot speak. Today, whoever did this thing to black people, it won't be well with that person. Oh dear me. There is something I want to talking about Aisha. I want to see if I can raise it. Remember when Aisha said that women should go and fight Boko Haram? Aisha telling Buratai that women should go and fight Boko Haram, not men. Aisha did not speak to her husband. You know, the woman is very clever. I respect Aisha Buhari. I'm telling you the truth. She's very clever. She has given you every clue in the world to let you know that that thing there is not her husband, but in our black African stupidity. Nobody cares to reason. No one. She's had enough. She's in England. Maybe after this program tonight, they'll bring her back tomorrow and increase her shopping allowance to Dubai and ask her to come to Asarok to pose with Jubril. Very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. That is what is happening in the zoo. That's why nothing is happening over there. The essence of this program this evening was to bring to light the plight of our people in South Africa and why everybody who is, anybody, let me just put it this way, any Biafran, businessman, so-called businessman tycoon, the businessmen you have after the war, all the multimillionaires you had after the war were all saboteurs. They were settled after the war. The ones you have now, they are like mini Dangote when politicians give them money to invest to avoid. In fact, they are channels to launder money, if you don't know. Anybody coming out and telling you to believe in one Nigeria and claim they're a businessman, they are from the East, they are from Biafra, that person is a traitor. Is a traitor. Pure Sabo Konyaho. You want me to be part of Nigeria when there is no viable seaport, no roads, no schools, no hospitals, no bridges, no viable airport? And you want me to be part of Nigeria? Fulani can fly from Kanu to wherever they want to go to. But I cannot fly from Enugu. I can't fly from where. I can't even fly from Iguacha. Port Harcourt Airport, Iguacha, you have to stop somewhere in Abuja. It's only Lufthansa that goes there now, not even Air France. And you're telling me to believe in Nigeria. All the resources come from my land, and you're asking me to believe in Nigeria. What type of... Hey, dear Lord, have mercy. Who made you people? That thing you have in your head, is it brain or is it sawdust? Or is it because they promised you one thing or the other? Or maybe a politician before bought an aircraft and gave to you to be flying. I will tell them how they got their aircraft, where they bought it, where they leased it from, who gave them the money and how much. I have all the information. They shouldn't try me or come out to propagate falsehood about what this very noble family IPOB stands for. We stand for Biafra. Until death, it is Biafra. Nothing else, it is Biafra. And let them understand this very clearly coming from me. I will sacrifice everything sacrificable to ensure that Biafra is restored. That is why we remain whiter than white and whiter than snow. If you challenge us, we will destroy you completely and totally. Mark today's date is the 3rd of October 2019. Because of what Cyril Ramaphosa did today in South Africa by attacking IPOB family members. Write it down now as I'm saying it. Watch out and see what will happen to Cyril Ramaphosa and to South Africa. Write it down this night. The time now is, let's say, approximately 18 minutes past 8 p.m. in the beloved land of Biafra. That is what I said. Watch what shall become of Cyril Ramaphosa and South Africa. Mark today's date down and say, this is what I said. Then you'll understand that God in heaven is with us. That despite all our suffering and our pain, reminds me of Job in the Bible, in the scriptures. When sometimes you go through pain and suffering, you don't know you're being tried to see how strong your faith is. People around you die, they fall, they perish. It's the devil trying to see if you can rise up and speak against Chukwukika. Trying your faith to see if you will somehow slacken. So the devil will say, I told you so. You see, they don't actually love you. They're only pretending when things are going very well for them. On this very mission, we are not going to stop. That is why Biafra to us is a religion. Biafra is our religion. Here on Radio Biafra is where we worship, because Chukwukika Biama in heaven is our God, our creator, almighty. We are not going to change. It doesn't matter what comes our way. We remain steadfastly glued onto this very fact. irreducible as it is, that Chukwu Okike Abiama is our guide, and unto him belongs every praise and adoration. And on that very note, we bring tonight's address to a conclusion. We are working very, very hard, I assure you. Harder than people can imagine. Sometimes we don't say anything because you can see how desperate the zoo is. Once you do something and they're rattled, they go to that government and they offer them, if crude oil is selling at $65 per barrel, as is happening now in South Africa, they sell in South Africa for $30 per barrel. And they sacrifice Biafrans. Go and kill Biafrans. They're giving us problems. Even in Malaysia, they did it in Malaysia as well. They're using our oil to bribe foreign governments around the world to clamp down on IPOB activities and Biafra. That is why every day they talk about unity. It's because of us. There is only one IPOB, there's only one family. People can pretend, people can go and connive with the zoo to see if they can steal our name. They will never succeed. Never. Because the original is the original, the fake is the fake. Once a man is in his house, every visitor will have to knock before you come in. And the noise they're making is just knocking on the door, that's all. But the door is firmly shut. Because we have no space for saboteurs. Our work continues, unabated and unstoppable, until Biafra is restored. I thank you all for listening. We must remain steadfast, loyal, obedient to Central Command, very, very important, in IPOB, all the time, obedient to Central Command. And above all, our faith and belief that Chukwu Okike Abiama will never fail us, as long as we remain on the path of truth and righteousness, which we shall remain. I thank you once again for listening. From me, from here, good evening.